This weekend, the eyes of the racing world turn to Saratoga Race Course for the running of the legendary Belmont Stakes. Join Andrew Bond and American racing analyst Greg Watson as they dissect one of the biggest races on the international racing calendar. And proudly flying the South African flag, equine hero One Stripe lines up in the Belmont Stakes, with South African champion jockey Gavin Lorana in the saddle. Can South Africa make history on one of racing's grandest stages? Find out as Andrew Bond and Greg Watson break down the form, the contenders, and the excitement of Belmont Stakes Day at Saratoga. This is world-class racing conversation at its finest. Proudly brought to you by RaceVolt, your go-to platform for all racing enthusiasts. racevolt.co.za.
Well, the last time we had Mr. Greg Watson with us was for the Preakness Stakes, and that turned out to be a very, very successful venture in respect of predicting the pace, predicting the outcome, and we're hoping to do the same for the Belmont. But this time, we have the Derby winner back in the race, and we have a horse that ran second in the race called Renegade, who's the current favorite for the race at 2-1, if I'm not mistaken, when I looked at the morning line. And I have in front of me the daily racing form that was very kindly sent to me by Greg this morning. And Greg, it is wonderful to have you on the show. Thank you very much for giving up of your valuable time.
Oh, no problem. No problem. It's my pleasure.
Okay, so what's your gut feeling before we go any further in starting to dissect the horses? What's your gut feel tell you about this Belmont Stakes this year?
I can tell you it's going to be a good race. Honestly, my gut feeling, and this might throw some people off, is that Golden Tempo is not going to win.
Okay, and the reason is because there was not the suicidal pace that we saw in the Derby.
Precisely.
That was actually faster than that of Secretariat when he broke the track record back in 1973. That is a remarkable stat.
Yes, exactly. There's going to be some pace in here. It's not going to be the suicidal pace that we saw in the Derby. You're not going to have 20 horses fighting each other. There's only 9. Golden Tempo tends to be a little bit lazy. Obviously he got the benefit of all that hot pace and, horses falling away. I think it's going to be tough for him. He'll be a sentimental favorite for a lot of people, and I wouldn't have a problem with him winning. I could see him winning. He's not getting my money.
Okay, so this very special lady that became the first woman in history to train a Derby winner, there was a small bit of controversy surrounding her trainership, not questioning her ability, but what was that all about? Was it fake news, or was it just something that?
Yeah, I think it's fake news. I didn't pay much attention to it. I saw an article. It was something towards like her sister really does all the hard work there.
Yeah.
And she just gets and her sister laughed it off. I think it's just people trying to poke some controversy into things, get some clicks online.
Crazy, absolutely crazy. When you think of the women trainers that have been successful all over the world, we can go there at another stage. There's a separate program for that. But in the meantime, let's talk about Renegade. Why is he favored for the Belmont Stakes 2026?
I really like him. I have a feeling he's going to sit closer, because he has in his past races, especially as a 2-year-old, he was able to sit closer to the pace. Now, it's only his last couple where he wasn't. There's not 20 horses in this race. There's only 9. He's going to be, I think they're going to use some strategy, get him a little bit closer to the pace, and then make his run, which means he gets the jump probably on Golden Tempo as far as the closers go.
Okay, so looking at his exact form, going into the Derby, he had run 3rd, 1st, 2nd, 1st, 1st.
Correct.
Mr. Ortiz was aboard on all of those occasions, bar one, when John Velasquez was not a bad replacement for that particular
No, definitely
unavailability.
not.
Hall of Famers, all of them.
Yeah,
But he
exactly.
is the real deal, this horse.
Yeah, yeah, and you have to think going back to that Arkansas Derby, his prep right before the Kentucky Derby, he could have rode Commandment that same day in the Florida Derby and chose to ride Renegade there. That tells you something. Obviously, he's got a really good relationship with Todd Pletcher, and rides for him quite often. So, but he also rides for Brad Cox, Commandment's trainer. So I bet that was a pretty terrible decision for him to have to make. But I mean, that's what he gets for being so good.
Okay, so now I'm thinking to myself, as a journalist, as a fan of the game, when I log on to a podcast or log on to some kind of information highway, I want to know as quickly as I can what the short list is, because we all like to take a win and a place and a trifecta and a quartet, whatever they're called in America, whatever they're called in England is irrelevant. We like to see if we can find those horses that'll pay value in the trifecta, in the first, second, and third berth. So we've got Renegade. We know he's won. He's definitely won. I cannot discount the Derby winner and saying that he won't feature in the first four. Maybe you can, but let's see if we can narrow it down to 4 horses that should be considered with regard to the finish of the 2026 Belmont.
I'm kind of up in the air about Chief Wallaby. His, if you go back and look at the Derby, it was a tricky run for him. He got bounced around quite a bit. He somehow ended up on the inside of the track, coming through the stretch. And after all getting bumped, he still made up some ground and was coming, but the inside of the track was just not where you wanted to be that day. The outside of the track, where Golden Tempo and Renegade were that was the pathway you wanted to go through. He keeps improving. I mean, I thought that was a great improvement for him too, though. I mean, he got really jostled around. Him and Commandment took really bad jostles coming down the stretch there. And Chief Wallaby was still running hard at the end. I think he's still learning too. I'd like to see him closer to the pace, which I think they'll probably try to do as well. So I'm kind of up in there with him. A tricky one that I got to call out is Power Shift, number 2. If you look at his first race, his maiden race, he ran against Emerging Market, who's also in this race, came back, yep. And then they tried to put him in the Tampa Bay Derby as a maiden. He just didn't. He got bumped at the beginning, and if you go back and look at the replay of that, he got hit pretty hard. The race was over for him then. They took a couple of months off, brought him back. He actually ran on the undercard of Kentucky Derby Day and lit him up. He could have won. He won by 2. He could have won by as much as Irad wanted that day. Now, granted, you're not going to have Irad Ortiz riding him. He's riding Renegade because this one's also for Todd Pletcher. But he's putting Luis Saez on there. I think that's
top man. Top man.
Yeah. I think that's the speed of the race. If he gets alone up top, he could be very dangerous, and he could definitely hang around. He's got the breeding to hang around for the distance. Obviously, we've talked about Renegade. He's going to run his race. He does every time. I just like we spoke about, I think they're going to try to keep him a little bit closer and not have him as far back. You got to think in the Derby, he was breaking from the 1 hole too. Wasn't much for him to do other than take back. It'd be a more strategic setup this time. I see Ottenho. What I can tell you about that horse, number 5, he's a half brother to Gunrunner.
Wow, that is, and he's making it as a sire in a big, big way.
Yeah. I mean, I think Chad Brown's throwing him to the wolves in this one, but obviously Chad knows more about the horses than we do. So
well, he hasn't got bad form. He's out of a Giant's Causeway mare, so he's got.
Yeah, exactly. It's the mare the mare they shame it. He shared with Gunrunner. He's actually out of Quality Road. Quality Road can get distance. That there's no doubt about that. I mean, he ran second to Further Ado, but he was, 11 lengths back. I don't see him winning it, but I thought that was an interesting tidbit that he is a half brother to Gun Runner. That's, that the family's doing pretty good. Growth equity, I'm sorry, and growth equity, the 6, I think another, Chad Brown says he's been training good. He's ran pretty good, but he hasn't run against anything of measure anyways. Commandment, I think I'm going to stick with Commandment again. I took him in the Derby. He had a horrible trip. Louis Saez is going to power shift, so they're putting Johnny Velasquez on him. I think he has a tactical edge too, that he's going to try to keep a little bit closer to the pace too. He don't want to get left back as far as he did, and as far as he did he ran in the Florida Derby. He ended up way back in last, but he had broke well. He was sitting like 4th, and then in the Florida Derby, and then just let the other horses go by, and he ended up winning that race. But it was a lot for him to do. I think the Johnny Velasquez getting on him is going to be the key. He's going to get him closer to the pace. I would have liked to see maybe blinkers added, but Brad Cox is a better horseman than I'll ever be, so I'm sure he knows it. He's come back with a couple of good works too, and let's go Emerging Market. Another Chad Brown. He probably has a lot of talent, but just so lightly raced, and you can totally throw his Kentucky Derby run out. He was trapped on the inside, made a little bit of a move, but he wasn't ready that day. I don't know that he's going to be ready to, for the Belmont Stakes either. And then Golden Tempo, he just has that tendency to lag far behind at the beginning of the race. It worked out in the Derby. That's great. I don't know that it works out this. He's gonna have to be a little bit closer too, and I don't know if it's in him to do that. He's gonna come with this run. There's no doubt about that.
Well, look, if anybody wonders about Golden Tempo, one thing he has got, he's got a golden pedigree. I mean, really, let's be honest.
Yeah, he's bred to run all day.
Out of a Bernardini mare. I mean, for goodness sake, you don't get much better than that.
Yeah, he's bred to run all day long. If they wanted to go 2 miles, he'd definitely finish. That's no problem. The distance is never going to be a problem for this horse. Like I said, I just so worry about. I know they added blinkers back a couple races back, so he's been in blinkers the last 2 times. It's made a little bit of a difference, but still not enough. He still tends to lag too far back and leave himself too much to do. Like we spoke about, the Derby, that was fine. You could do that. The suicidal pace helped him out. It's not going to do it today, because if Renegade gets a jump on him, he's going to get him.
Okay, Greg, take a look to your right, like far right, behind you.
That one?
Yeah. Didn't she do that? I know there's only one Zenyatta, but I
Yeah.
mean, she just gave herself so much to do all the time.
Yeah, she did. And she did it in a lot of small fields as well. She also did a lot on synthetic, though. So
100%. Okay, so I'm going to give you the time that we talk about the one stripe race to think about your 1, 2, 3 or your roving bankers. 3 horses that should run in the first 4. I'm going to give you that subconscious time to think about it. But let's scroll back now to the Saratoga. It's a $1 million race. It's a proper race.
Yeah.
Tis Dashing is number 1. Test Score, I know, is a very, very strong fancy of yours to repeat the kind of form that he is so famous for, with one blemish, which Graham Motion has already discussed. Make Me a King, integration, deterministic, tough competitor, bright picture all the way from France, rhetorical, top horse. One stripe, unlucky last time out, but the real deal, and then Battle of Normandy. So that's the field. Fire away, Mr. Greg Watson.
A great field. It's a grade 1 race, Manhattan Stakes. We had spoke personally about Test Score, and I wish we could have got some more info from Graham about the that run at Churchill, that he just did not show up at all. I'm throwing that out. I'm just going to put a cross through that race.
But he said the same thing. He said draw lines straight through it. It's too bad to be true.
Yeah, exactly. Too bad to be true. Something was going on. Obviously, though, he was right about he was wide. He was trapped wide on a slow pace, and that's not where you want to be at Churchill. I think this race, especially coming out of the 2 hole, he's going to be able to get him some strategic position, sit behind the leaders. He's going to have to sit behind Rhetorical, and he's probably going to have to run him down. Rhetorical, and we'll get to Deterministic as well. I see those two as probably being the pace of the race, but he could be sitting third or fourth, and that's where he likes to be. He's going to be there third, fourth, get outside, make a run. I think he's going to get there this time.
Okay, so I've got to ask you a question. I've got to interrupt you. You've had the benefit of watching racing today from Saratoga, the same course that they will run on Saturday.
Yeah, and
what have you gleaned? Well. What have you gleaned from the conditions that exist at the moment, the position on the main track, on the grass track? What's happening?
From what I saw yet, as far as yesterday, and they're like 2 races in today, you want to be on the front end on both turf course and the dirt course. Speed's really holding up on the dirt. Turf, you can be a little bit further, but like yesterday, there was, everybody was pretty much forwardly placed at 1, but there were some sprint races. So you had a lot of, just out and out speed horses flying in those. So we'll have to, I'll remain watching for today and tomorrow, just kind of see if there's any trends going on as far as that. Weather could come into play on Saturday. I know around starting at about 3:00, there's like a 40-50% chance of rain. So come, the Manhattan and Belmont, you could have some moisture on the track. Saratoga is notorious, man. They have that New York weather. A storm will come through, drown everything, and then get out. But
the drainage is as good as you can get there.
Yeah. Yep. And then we can move on to like number 3, Make Me a King. That was kind of a tricky one for me. Coming over from Maida, I think he just kind of picked up the pieces. Rhetorical, in that last race, Rhetorical just ran off with that one. I think this guy just kind of picked up the pieces afterwards. Not going to be in my bets at all.
No. I agree with you completely. I look at his form, and I see first, third, first, fourth, eighth, third, fifth, first, fourth, second. So he's overdue for a win, but it's not going to be in this race.
And I remember watching because he was in the Dubai turf race there, the race before Churchill, and he kind of does the same thing. He just kind of plods along and picks it. He's only going to be one pace. He's not really got a big turn of foot, which I think you need for Saratoga turf course. I just don't think he's quite the caliber of these horses. He's probably going to be, if he stays over here, he'll be great too.
Yeah. Okay, so I've got to go to the source now, Deterministic, because his Christophe Clement's son was out here, Miguel.
Yeah.
Staying with Matthew de Kock. I got to meet him. I saw him at the track many, many mornings. He's well married, got a lot of information on his side, a lot of experience on his side. This horse has got serious form, and he is a very determined horse living up to his name.
Exactly. I think he's going to end up being the speed of the race, and he's comfortable in that position. I don't think you want to Rhetorical's not going to want to let him get too far, get an easier lead. The big question I think is going to be the distance for him. He's only been this distance once. He was third. I just think this is a tad bit too far for him in this company as well.
Okay, so across the board, if you have a Liam's Map sire out of a Speightstown mare, surely to goodness, a mile and 3/16 is not beyond the realms of possibility.
It can happen. What we have to remember is that Speightstown was a sprinter, and Liam's Map was a speed horse that could get some distance on occasion, but pretty much he was a miler.
Okay, I got it.
But hey, sometimes they just outrun their pedigree, and he could definitely do that if they give him a dangerous, easy lead.
Okay, so one thing's for sure. He's got a very, very good jockey that knows him exceedingly well. He's won 4 out of his last 4 starts. He's got to be a horse you put into all your exotic bets. He has to be a serious contender.
Yeah, just because of the tactical advantage as well of being he's going to be probably lone speed in here. Unless Rhetorical, I don't see Rhetorical trying to go with him unless he's just muscled up and pumped up and just does it. But I don't see that happening. I see Rhetorical probably sitting second or third behind him. Kind of sets up for the 6 bright picture. The Andre Fabre horse.
You got to put a horse on a plane and bring it across from France. You
tough.
must know something. You must
really exactly
very highly of this.
And as we know, you can look at that form and see his last 3 races, 2 wins and a second, and that second was to probably the top rated turf horse in the world right now.
Well, there's no doubt about that.
Winner.
Yeah.
And I actually went back and watched that race again this morning. For a minute, he was nose and nose with him, and then Darius just took off. But yeah, Andre Fabre, he's done it before. He's come over here and won many races, so he knows how to do it. And obviously, the horse is fit and ready. The biggest problem, and I heard him talking about it, was that the one time he shipped out of France was to Bahrain. I think that was last year, and didn't run a lick at all. So the worry is he ships one time and didn't run a race at all. What's he going to do when he ships? Now he's shipping a lot further too. That's the question. I'd like to see, post parade, see how he's acting before the race, but he's definite contender for me.
Okay, so let's get to the reason that we had this conversation. One Strike. He loves international jockeys. Bernard Faydherbe from not from Mauritius, from Madagascar. He's had Gavin Larena, whose heritage hails from South America. He's had John Velasquez. He's had Hernandez.
Juan Hernandez, yeah.
He absolutely loves international jockeys. And he's now, we knew he was an exceptional horse before he left here, but he's come of age now. That run in the Keeneland Mile, that was superb, given there was no pace. And you always tipped me. You said to me, Zulu Kingdom will win this race because of his tactical speed. And that's exactly what happened.
Exactly. And I tell you what, looking back at One Strike, when he first came over, he had those 2 horrible races. One of them at Woodbine and the Woodbine Mile, and then the Breeders' Cup Mile.
But he was rushed.
Yeah, he was rushed to get into it. And then you look over who won those races. Both of them, notable speech. Not too shabby. I mean, he kept good company, but Graham did perfect with him coming back into late December. Got that allowance win at Gulfstream. He ran beautifully that day, and he was close to the pace too. That surprised me as well. Looking back at it, he was only a length off a pretty swift pace that day. His last 2 have been great. He just always not enough to get there. We know the Keeneland race. There was a lot of trouble. He might have won that race. A lot of trouble in that one. And then the Pegasus World Cup race where he ran second there to test score. Another 2 jumps, he's there. Maybe another jump, actually.
Yeah. All in all, Greg, you know what? We've got ourselves one hell of a horse race here, because
yes, you do. And
even though Zulu Kingdom's not here, you've got Deterministic to take his place. For whatever reason, Zulu Kingdom's not here. You said you might look and see if he's on the undercard.
Yeah, I didn't see him on any of them. I didn't see any on any undercards at Churchill or Saratoga for the weekend. So I don't know. Maybe something happened to him, or maybe Chad's just saving him for another race because he's got
Breeders' Cup.
Yeah, he's probably saving him for something down the road. One Strike, like we had spoke personally about the distance maybe being a problem, but then Graham Motion got on your interview and he doesn't see a problem with it. He actually thinks it might be better for him, and it might force him to sit closer, a little bit closer to the pace and make his closing kick a little bit more powerful than it already is. But you can't go away from Rhetorical. I got to go back to Rhetorical. That was such an impressive race at Churchill Downs. I mean, he ran in the one stripe, the Keeneland race too. We have, don't forget about that. But that was his first one since the Breeders' Cup. And now he comes back with that powerful run at Churchill. Comes to Saratoga. He loves it here. He's won 3 out of 4 here. I think he's definitely the horse to beat. I'd like to see one stripe maybe get him on the outside late.
Okay, well, you're not used to getting hijacked in America. I know it does happen, but in South Africa, a guy walks into a room, he puts a gun to your head, he says, right, Mr. Watson, give us your 1, 2, 3, not necessarily in order, 3 horses that will run a place, in your opinion, in the Belmont Stakes, and 3 horses in the Manhattan Mile.
Okay, we'll start with the Manhattan test score. Bright Picture and Rhetorical. Let's go Belmont. I'm going to give you a tricky one. I talked about.
Oh, you left one stripe out the first 3.
Huh?
Big trouble. Big trouble.
Yeah, I know. It's hard.
But
I'm wondering.
You got to go with what your gut feel tells you.
Yeah, and I think my issue is going to be the tight turns at Saratoga that he may not be used to. It might be a little difficult for him and for Gavin to get a trip in there. Now we'll go to the Belmont. I talked about him earlier. Power Shift. I think he gets a lead. I think he hangs around late. Maybe gets a place. I don't know if he's a win bet, but I think he gets a place. Renegade's got to be there. And my top pick is I'm going to have to stick with Commandment. He was my Derby horse. Got to stay with him. I think he's going to get a much better ride from John Velasquez, and he's 6-1. And that'll be my 3.
It sounded like the last little bit cut out, but we can fix that. End of the day, if we didn't get it, I can get your voiceover a little bit later because I think we basically wrapped it on. Maybe it just went quiet my side.
Yeah, it's freezing up a little bit.
Did it freeze up on your side?
Yeah.
Okay, so just please give me the 1, 2, 3 for the Belmont Stakes again.
All right, the 1, 2, 3. We spoke about him before. Power Shift. I think he gets a lead. I think he sticks around. Maybe gets second or third. Renegade. I think he's probably gonna probably win the race. I mean, he's favored. I'm sticking with Commandment. I had him in the Derby. Got bounced around. Didn't get his run. Johnny Velasquez getting added to him. He's going to be in a more tactical position this time. Also probably ain't going to have all the traffic that he had. He's going to be my top pick, Commandment. He's 6-1.
Right. Now, I know that your wife is away on a business trip. I know you're looking after your son. He's busy studying. You got to go cook dinner now or whatever you do. But thank you for giving us up of your time. Greatly appreciated. And we will be up late on Saturday night watching the Belmont and one stripe, hopefully being able to beat Rhetorical and hopefully be able to beat Test Score and all the other great thoroughbreds that he's encountering from a patriotic perspective.
One stripe's definitely going to be my sentimental pick. I'll be, pulling for you guys. If he wins, I'll probably cry for you. It'd be nice to see you guys at Saratoga get a grade 1 win. That would be awesome.
It would be awesome. Yeah. Have a wonderful afternoon further and look forward to chatting to you soon.
All right. You guys have a good one.
Thanks for joining Andrew Bond and Greg Watson as they discussed the Belmont Stakes from Saratoga Racecourse. And special South African interest surrounds Equine Star One Stripe, partnered by South African champion jockey Gavin Lorena. We hope you enjoyed the insight, analysis, and conversation. This presentation was proudly brought to you by RaceVault. RaceVault.co.za, powering the modern punter. Until next time, stay informed, stay passionate, and enjoy the racing. racevault.co.za.